in the meantime, we do have to bring into the conversation Michael Makovsky, senior analyst there at JINSA. We've been relying on JINSA throughout the course of the last several days. They're a great resource, and Michael joins me. Michael, thanks for being with us. We're going to keep this up here. We do want to bring you into the conversation. I know it's very, very late here. I just kind of previewed for you and for our viewers the Pentagon press briefing that will take place tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. If you were sitting in there as a reporter, what would you be asking the Defense Secretary and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs?
Well, I'd want to know more details, obviously, that's been reported right now. So I'd ask them about that. I'd like to have some idea about maybe how we're postured in the region in case the Iranians try to retaliate. Those would be my initial thing. That's my initial instinct about what to ask.
Let's focus on kind of the Israeli angle to all of this. We did give Israel a heads up that we were going to do this tonight. Bibi Netanyahu has responded in a video message. We'll get to that a little bit later on here. But now Iran is facing two fronts in this, from the United States and from Israel. Now, the United States says, that's it. We're not going to do anything else unless Iran decides to retaliate here. So how can Iran maneuver this with Israel and the United States firing at it? I know Iran's firing back, but only back at Israel.
Right. So, first of all, let me just, if I may, just say one thing. I think it's a tremendous thing what President Trump did. I commend him for this, and I commend him for also rejecting some of the naysayers among the isolationists in the Republican Party for doing this. I think it's clear, because you keep hearing this before, and this will get to answer your question. This is Israel's fight. We shouldn't get involved. No. President Trump made it clear this is America's fight, too. 5 presidents in a row, Democrats and Republicans, vowed to do what President Trump and the Israelis are doing now. And now President Trump's the only one actually to do something about it concretely. So this is America's fight. The Iranians are our enemies. President Trump laid that out in his speech. And it would have been, and it's a very important signal also to our adversaries like the Chinese and the Russians, also to our allies, that we did it, that we're going to advance our interests, and we're going to stand by our close allies. So I think it's very important to say up front. And to answer your question about the Iranians, look, what they should do, but I'm not expecting them to do it, is to pretty much cry uncle, say you're right, and and try to cut some deal that pretty much eliminates their whole nuclear program. But they're not going to do that, I don't think. The big question is, are they going to try to retaliate against U.S. Military assets, soldiers, or Americans anywhere in the world? I hope they don't, because I think they should listen to what President Trump said, because the U.S. will retaliate extremely strongly on that. And that'll be the end of the regime for sure.
So, Michael, what else does Israel have up its sleeve? They wanted the United States' help with striking these facilities tonight. The United States did it. Somewhat bizarrely, Bibi Netanyahu yesterday said that, if the United States decides not to, they can still do whatever they will. The United States, of course, ultimately decided to strike these targets. So is that it? Does Israel have more up its sleeve now?
Yeah, I do. And by the way, I think, Netanyahu said that because the fact is that if President Trump didn't do this, Israel would have to do it in the way it could. It could not do it in the way America did today or tonight, but Israel would do it its way. It wouldn't be as good, but it would have to do it. So I think that's why Netanyahu said that. I don't know, with the Israelis, obviously, I think we've learned over the last 9 days, and we've learned now for over a year from the Israelis that don't underestimate what they could do, because it's been very impressive militarily. And I think what they need to do, continue to do, look, they have freedom of air. I mean, they could fly over the country because they have completely disabled Iran's air defenses. So I think the Israelis might want to keep cleaning up on the ballistic missiles. The threat is not just the nuclear weapons, however really important that is. It's also the ballistic missiles. So I think they're going to do whatever they can to kind of clean that up in the country. And they'll also have to do an assessment of what needs to be done anymore on the nuclear side. They want to make sure that they've destroyed the enriched uranium So there's probably going to have to be an assessment about that. And by the way, that would be something, if I was a journalist, I would be asking in the press conference tomorrow morning, what conference do we have about the enriched uranium? Is there anything the United States is going to do, et cetera?
Politically, throughout this entire conversation, in the run up to these strikes, I had been kind of noting and acknowledging some fractures within the president's coalition in the Republican base, and even those who work for him, including his director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. 2 times in the last week, he said that Gabbard was wrong about intelligence indicating Iran was very close to obtaining and producing a nuclear weapon. I think this is interesting reporting from Jennifer Griffin. She says the White House says that Tulsi Gabbard was in the Situation Room tonight, even though no photos were released that showed her there. Does this put to bed some of the critics within Trump's own coalition about whether or not he should have done this tonight?
Well, I would like to think so, but they're pretty hard. And you got Tucker Carlson is another one. Even the vice president, J.D. Vance, has expressed a lot of reservations. Obviously, not as much as like Tucker Carlson claiming all sorts of horrors are going to come about. But my hope is, yes, as I think President Trump said, he created MAGA. So he'll declare what that means. And peace cannot involve, and you can't have peace if you're going to have a nuclear Iran. And I hope people, those in his base that have opposed this strike will heed what the president said, because I think he's completely right. This was an America first strike.
All right, Michael Makovsky there with JINSA. Michael, thanks for being with us. I know it's late. We'll definitely be speaking soon.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Have a good night.